In 2023, a team reanalyzed residue in ancient jars and accidentally reignited a 90-year debate about whether the Babylonians had batteries. Last year, a single footnote in an archaeology report led me to a lost city that rewrote what we thought we knew about ancient trade routes. 3 months ago, I found a newly published paper with like 200 views that completely changed our understanding of how ancient sailors navigated without compasses. Everyone asks me the same question: where are you finding this stuff? Today, I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm showing you exactly where I hunt for these stories, how I verify they're real, and why most history channels are covering the same 5 topics while I'm finding things nobody else is talking about. And I'm going to show you some stories I'm researching right now that you've never heard of. Let's go. Here's what's wrong with most history content on YouTube. Everyone's making videos about the pyramids. Again, Atlantis. Again, the same conspiracy theories that have been debunked 1,000 times. Again. And look, I get it. Those topics get views. They're recognizable, safe. But after you've seen the 10th video about ancient aliens and the pyramids, don't you want something new? I did. That's why I started looking where nobody else was looking. Most creators are mining the same surface-level sources. Wikipedia, History Channel documentaries, the top 10 Google results for ancient mysteries. But here's what they're missing. There are thousands of new archaeological discoveries happening every single year. New papers published every month. Museums updating their findings. Universities reanalyzing artifacts with modern technology. Like this one that came out in 2024. New analysis suggests ancient mechanism more complex than previously thought. Most people scroll right past that. I see a story nobody's told yet. The unique stories aren't hiding. They're just in places most people don't think to look. Let me show you exactly where I look, and more importantly, how I decide what's actually worth making a video about. First, let me tell you where I don't look. I avoid the trending page. I avoid mainstream history websites that just regurgitate the same content. I avoid YouTube's recommended videos on historical topics, because if YouTube's already recommending it, 500 other channels have already covered it. Instead, I'm hunting in these specific places: academic databases, JSTOR, Google Scholar, university archives. These have thousands of papers on discoveries that never make it to mainstream news. I'm specifically looking for papers published in the last 2 to 3 years, because that's recent enough that most creators haven't found them yet. University archaeology department blogs, schools like Oxford, Cambridge, Penn, they all have archaeology departments publishing updates on their digs, real archaeologists documenting real finds in real time. Museum publications and archives. Museums constantly update their research on artifacts they've had for decades. The British Museum, the Louvre, smaller regional museums, they're all publishing new findings based on modern analysis of old discoveries. Scientific journals, Nature, Science, Archaeology magazine. When they publish something about a historical find, it's usually vetted by actual experts. These aren't clickbait articles, they're peer-reviewed research. Specialized forums and communities. There are online communities of amateur archaeologists, historians, and enthusiasts who share discoveries that never hit mainstream news. Sometimes the best leads come from people who are genuinely passionate about niche topics. But here's my actual secret weapon, the specific search terms I use. I'm not searching for ancient mysteries or lost civilizations. That gives me the same recycled content everyone else has. I'm searching for recently discovered plus a topic, new analysis plus the artifact name, re-examines plus a historical event, challenges previous theory, latest findings, or year-specific searches like 2024 archaeology discoveries. These trigger words mean recent research, new information, stories that haven't been covered to death yet. Like when I searched 2023 analysis ancient batteries, that's how I found the Baghdad battery story. The new analysis, not the old myth everyone's already heard. And I'm constantly taking notes. I have a running document on my phone where I dump everything that catches my attention. Random comment from a viewer mentioning an artifact I've never heard of goes in the list. Footnote in a documentary that references something obscure, list. Single sentence in a news article about a discovery? List. I've got probably 200 potential story ideas in this document right now. Some will never become videos, but some are going to be incredible. Here's a real example. A few months ago, someone in the comments mentioned something called the Phaistos disc. I'd never heard of it, added it to my list. Started researching. Turns out it's this ancient clay disc covered in mysterious symbols that still hasn't been deciphered. There's active debate about whether it's even real writing or just decorative. That's a video. That's a story nobody else is telling right now, because most creators stick to what they already know. But here's the thing. Having 200 ideas doesn't mean anything if I can't figure out which ones are actually worth pursuing. Because not every idea turns into a good story. So before I commit days or weeks to researching a topic, I run it through a filter. Every potential story has to pass 4 tests before I'll touch it. And these questions have saved me from wasting weeks on topics that sound interesting but fall apart under scrutiny. Question 1. Can I actually verify this? This is non-negotiable. If the only source for a story is a random blog from 2003, or a conspiracy website, or a single book with no references, I move on immediately. I need multiple credible sources, academic papers, museum records, expert interviews, archaeological reports, something solid. Like there's this popular story about ancient Egyptian light bulbs. You've probably seen the images of the Dendera carvings that supposedly show light bulbs. Every conspiracy channel covers it. But when you actually research it, the archaeological consensus is clear. Those are symbolic representations of lotus flowers and snakes, not light bulbs. The ancient electricity theory has zero credible backing. Now, I could make a video about it, but it would just be debunking something that's already been debunked 100 times. That's not unique content. That's just more noise. Instead, I look for stories where the real evidence is actually more interesting than the myths. Question 2. Does it have actual depth? A cool headline isn't enough. I need a story with layers. Here's what I mean. If I can explain the entire story in 30 seconds, it's not enough for a video. I need multiple perspectives or theories, recent developments or discoveries, some kind of mystery or unresolved question, details that reveal something bigger about the time period or culture, and ideally, some kind of twist or unexpected element. Take the Antikythera mechanism. On the surface, it's ancient Greeks made a complex gear system. Okay, cool, but so what? But when you dig deeper, it gets wild. This thing could predict eclipses, track Olympic Games, model planetary movements with incredible accuracy. We found it in 1901, but didn't understand what it was for decades. Modern scientists are still discovering new functions. Recent X-ray analysis in 2021 revealed inscriptions we couldn't see before. That has depth, that has mystery, that has enough substance to fill 15 to 20 minutes while keeping people engaged. If a story doesn't have that kind of depth, it might make a good 60-second short, but it's not worth a full deep dive video. Question 3. Does it fit this channel? You're here for ancient mysteries, archaeology, biblical history, exploration, stories that make us question what we thought we knew about the past. If a topic doesn't fit that wheelhouse, even if it's interesting, it doesn't belong here. Like, medieval castle architecture is fascinating, but unless there's a mystery attached to it, or a recent discovery that changes our understanding, it's not a should I go video. It might be a great video for someone else's channel, but not this one. I've learned to stay in my lane. The channel has an identity now. Viewers come here expecting a specific kind of content, and I need to deliver on that expectation. Question 4. Am I genuinely excited about this? This is the most important filter, and it's completely subjective. If I'm not personally curious about a topic, if it doesn't make me want to dive down a research rabbit hole at 2 a.m., if I can't imagine talking about it with genuine enthusiasm, I don't make the video. Because here's the truth. You can feel when a creator doesn't care about their topic. The energy isn't there. The curiosity isn't there. It comes across as going through the motions. But when I find a story that legitimately fascinates me, where I'm discovering things and going, wait, what? That excitement is infectious. You feel it in the final video. That's what makes the difference between a video that's just informative and a video that's actually engaging. So those are my 4 filters: multiple credible sources, actual depth, fits the channel, makes me genuinely curious. If a story passes all 4 tests, it graduates from my ideas list to in production. And that's when I disappear down the research rabbit hole for days or weeks at a time. Let me show you what that actually looks like. This is where I spend most of my time. And honestly, this is where the magic happens, where I find the details that transform a topic from just interesting into something absolutely fascinating. When I commit to a story, my research process follows a pretty specific pattern. Phase 1. Get the broad context. I always start surface level. Wikipedia gives me the basics, and a good documentary gives me the narrative framework. Usually, this takes a few hours and gives me enough of a foundation to understand what I'm dealing with. But I don't stop here. This is really just the starting point. Phase 2. Find the authoritative sources. Now I go hunting for the real stuff. Academic papers, recent studies, museum publications, expert lectures, archaeological reports, and primary sources whenever I can find them. Like, when I was researching the Baghdad batteries, those ancient jars people claim were used to generate electricity. Surface-level research gave me the myth. Ancient Iraqis had batteries thousands of years ago. Advanced technology. But when I dug into the actual research, I found a 2023 paper that analyzed residue in the jars. What they discovered was way more nuanced, and honestly, more interesting than the sensational headline. The jars probably weren't batteries, but they were used in a fascinating electrochemical process for gilding, coating objects with gold. Still advanced for the time, but in a completely different way than the myths suggest. That's the story. Not the clickbait version, but the actual evidence. And this is crucial. I'm cross-referencing everything. Because, as you probably know, the internet is full of recycled misinformation, especially about historical mysteries. If one source makes a wild claim, like this civilization had technology ahead of its time, I need to verify it. Has this been confirmed by archaeologists? Is there peer-reviewed research backing it up? What do the actual experts say? Are there alternative explanations? Phase 3. Hunt for the details that matter. This is where I'm looking for the specific details that bring a story to life. Vivid descriptions, exact dates, names of archaeologists, direct quotes from researchers, numbers that illustrate scale, comparisons that help people understand context. For instance, when I was researching ancient navigation techniques, I found this detail in a 2024 paper. Polynesian navigators could detect islands over 30 miles away by reading subtle changes in wave patterns. They'd literally lie in the bottom of their canoes and feel the difference in the ocean's movement. That's a detail that makes people go, wait, they could do what? Those are the gems I'm hunting for, the specific moments that transform information into a story. Phase 4. Find the conflicts and controversies. Here's something most history videos miss. They present everything as settled fact. But that's not how archaeology works. There are constant debates. Researchers disagree. New evidence challenges old theories. Nothing is ever completely settled. And when I find those controversies, that's content gold. The Piri Reis map is a perfect example. This 16th century map supposedly shows Antarctica's coastline before it was covered in ice, which would be impossible. Some people claim it's evidence of ancient, advanced civilizations. Mainstream archaeologists say it's a misinterpretation of the South American coastline. Both sides have arguments. Both cite evidence. Neither is 100% proven. That makes for interesting content. Not here's the answer, but here are the different theories. Here's the evidence for each. You decide what you think. By the time I'm done with research, my desk looks like a conspiracy theorist's office. Notes everywhere. Browser with over 50 tabs open. Documents with timelines and cross-references. I've usually spent anywhere from 3 days to 2 weeks just on research, depending on the complexity of the topic. But here's why that investment matters. It's the difference between making another surface-level video that just regurgitates information everyone's already heard and making something that reveals details even hardcore history buffs don't know. When someone comments, "I've been fascinated by this topic for years," and I still learned something new from this video. That's when I know the research paid off. But gathering all this information is only half the battle. Now I have to turn it into something people actually want to watch for 15 to 20 minutes or longer. Having great research doesn't automatically make a great video. I've definitely learned this the hard way. The challenge is, how do I take days or even weeks of research and compress it into a narrative that's clear, engaging, and, doesn't feel like a college lecture? The script. I write every script with one rule in mind. I'm telling a friend about this crazy thing I just discovered, not teaching a class, not writing an academic paper, just having a conversation. That means short sentences mixed with longer ones for rhythm, asking questions to keep people engaged, using you and we instead of distant third person, building curiosity before revealing information, and using strategic pauses and emphasis. Instead of writing, the Antikythera mechanism was discovered in 1901 by sponge divers near the Greek island of Antikythera. I'd write, in 1901, sponge divers are searching for their next haul near a Greek island. They find a shipwreck, and inside that shipwreck, something that shouldn't exist. Same information, but a completely different energy. I also structure every video the same way. Hook hard in the first 15 seconds. Give them a reason to keep watching before they decide to click away. Build mystery. Don't answer every question immediately. Create curiosity gaps that keep people watching to find out what happens next. Layer the information. Start with the surface story, then peel back layers to reveal deeper complexity. Include a twist or unexpected element, something that challenges assumptions or reveals new information. End with something to think about, a question, an implication, a connection to something bigger. This structure keeps momentum throughout the video. Even if someone knows the basic story, the way I tell it keeps them engaged. The visuals. For a channel like this, visuals really make or break the video. I can't just talk at the camera for 20 minutes. I need relevant B-roll that illustrates what I'm talking about, maps to show locations and context, images of artifacts, archaeological sites, historical documents, graphics to explain complex concepts, and strategic use of on-screen text to reinforce key points. I'm using in-video AI for most of my production, which means I'm feeding it a detailed script with specific visual cues. The better my prompts, the better the final video. But I always review and refine. If the AI gives me generic stock footage when I need something specific, I replace it. If a visual doesn't match the tone of what I'm saying, I change it. The goal is seamless storytelling where the visuals and narration work together, not against each other. The thumbnail. Let's be honest, the thumbnail might be more important than the video itself. If people don't click, none of the research matters. My thumbnail strategy. Find an image that creates a question in people's minds. Use minimal text, just enough to spark curiosity. Make sure it's readable at phone size. Use colors that pop against YouTube's interface. Include human faces or eyes when possible. They draw attention. And make it look different from every other history thumbnail. I test these at small scale because most people are scrolling on their phones. If it doesn't grab attention on a 6-inch screen, it doesn't work. And I'm not going for clickbait, I'm going for curiosity. There's a difference between this discovery will shock you and an image that makes someone genuinely wonder, what is that thing? Here's something that really surprised me when I started this channel. The community that forms around these videos is just as valuable as the videos themselves. Upload day used to make me nervous, but now it's honestly one of my favorite parts of this whole process. The first hour, I'm in the comments within minutes of publishing, reading reactions, answering questions. When someone says, "I've never heard this story before," or "How earth the mysteries?" This changed how I think about ancient history. That makes every hour of research worth it. But the really valuable stuff happens when viewers start contributing. Someone points out a detail I missed. Someone with expertise in the field offers a different perspective. Someone shares a personal experience related to the topic. Someone drops a link to a new article I haven't seen yet. These aren't just comments, they're leads for future videos. Corrections and critiques. Despite all the careful research, Occasionally, I get something wrong, or I present something in a way that's misleading, or I miss a crucial piece of context. When viewers point this out, I don't get defensive. I actually appreciate it. These are often people who are genuinely knowledgeable about the subject. They're not trying to tear down the video. They're trying to make sure the information out there is accurate. If a correction is significant, I pin a comment addressing it. I add a note to the description. I acknowledge it in follow-up videos if necessary. Because ultimately, the goal isn't just to make videos, it's to share accurate information about these incredible stories. The community effect. After running this channel for a while now, I'm starting to recognize regular viewers. The same usernames appearing in comment sections, sharing theories, asking questions, contributing information. It's become less of a me talking at you situation and more of a we're all in this together, exploring these mysteries as a community. Like, I made a video about an ancient site. Someone in the comments mentioned they'd actually visited that site and shared photos. Another person connected it to a completely different discovery I hadn't covered yet. A third person who works in archaeology offered additional context about the excavation process. That's not just engagement metrics. That's a real community of people who genuinely care about this stuff. And when someone says, hey, have you heard about obscure topic? That goes straight into my research list. Some of my best videos have come from viewer suggestions. This channel has grown to over 3,000 subscribers. We're working toward that 4,000 watch hours needed for monetization. Every view matters. Every comment matters. Every share helps. But more than the numbers, what matters is that we're building something here. A place where people can discover stories they've never heard before. Where we can geek out about ancient mysteries and archaeological discoveries together. So that's the full process. From hunting in academic databases that most people don't even know exist, to verifying sources, to spending weeks researching, to turning it all into a story that keeps people watching. It's a lot of work. Each video represents days or weeks of effort behind the scenes. But when I see comments like, "This is why I subscribe to this channel," or "You always find stories I've never heard anywhere else," it's worth every hour. The world is full of incredible stories, ancient mysteries that haven't been solved, recent discoveries that never made headlines, archaeological finds that challenge everything we thought we knew. They're out there. You just have to know where to look. And look, I'm not gatekeeping this process. I want more people making content about unique historical stories. The more of us out there finding these hidden gems and sharing them, the better. Because ultimately, this isn't about me. It's about these stories deserving to be told. Speaking of which, I'm currently deep in research on 3 stories you've probably never heard of. An ancient navigation technique that lets sailors cross oceans without compasses or maps. And new evidence suggests it was even more sophisticated than we thought. A recent reanalysis of a medieval manuscript that might completely change our understanding of pre-Columbian contact with the Americas. And a 2024 archaeological discovery that's been almost completely ignored by mainstream media, but has huge implications for how we understand ancient trade routes. Those are coming soon. If you've got a story you think I should investigate, drop it in the comments. If you know someone who loves discovering unique historical content, send them this video. And if you're not subscribed yet, we're building something special here. Come along for the ride. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next video.